Whoa!
Saints Row will be an underrated gem, and I'm here to tell you why. It's hard to think where to begin this video, so let's start with what I'd like to call the most important factor, the map. With attention to detail and environmental clutter, Santo Aliso feels like the most lived in Saints Row map yet. From sandy desert roads to the sprawling city life, new additions to the series like hidden history locations make for great exploration. But even outside of the side activities, the map is just fun to explore. It's really the kind of map I was expecting to see in the third Saints Row. And at long last, we have more off-road to drive on, which brings me to my next topic, vehicle physics and handling. It only took 5 games to get Saints Row's handling right, but we finally have an overhaul of the classic Saints Row driving. Cars are more enjoyable to drive now than past games, feeling more weighty and slightly more realistic, while still retaining a glimmer of that signature arcade feel. I haven't enjoyed driving around a map this much since Mafia 3. As you drive off the tarmac and onto the dirt, you'll notice your car start to slide around more as the suspension bounces around the rough terrain. But if that's not to your liking, how about an off-road kit? Which brings us to vehicle customization, a staple in the Saints Row series. Since the first game released, car modifications have been a prominent feature, and Saints Row 2022 doesn't hold back. From nitrous to tow hooks, fatback tyres to front cheese choppers, this game does customization right. A cool new addition is the ability to swap any vehicle's sound with another, making for some wild mix-ups. And while we're at mix-ups, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the characters and the story. My biggest concern with this game was the reboot of an age-old gangster tale turning into a soy latte drinking, college going, gang banging mashup. So I went in prepared to mute the voice audio if necessary, but enjoy the game for what it is, and to my surprise, it's not unbearable. Some mission dialogue, especially the repetitive stuff, was becoming quite frustrating in the earlier hours of the game. But fundamentally, the missions have been very fun, even though I find myself doing side activities and growing my empire far more than playing the story itself. As I move on to the next topic, I must mention that I feel like the marketing of this game was awful. When you play Saints Row, you make your character, you have your style, you give them a voice.
Piss off.
Yet all the marketing hyper-focused on one type of audience and player. They could have made a different character for different trailers and really showed off that this is a game anyone can enjoy. Which moves us towards clothing. I always found the third Saints Row to be too goofy, and I didn't enjoy the clothing on offer as much as I did in the second game. So far I haven't had that problem in the reboot. Shops and stores are located around the map, with some being a whole store full of different clothes and others merely just a sunglasses rack. This scattered layout of shops works really well to play into the immersion of the world. Something else I thought worth mentioning is that when a journalist plays a game, they often do so in a speedy manner. After all, it is their job, and that's an important factor to remember. Someone playing this game as a job is likely not going to get the same enjoyment as someone playing at their leisurely pace at home on their couch. And we all know how much we enjoy listening to some tunes on our couch, which brings me to radio stations. To keep it brief, I've found 3 stations I like so far, one being a totally cool synthwave focused station called Outrun. I didn't expect much from the radio in this game, but just like the clothing, there is something for everyone, from 90s hip hop to modern mumble. And the music isn't the only noise Saints Row does right. Bullets tearing through the metal of cars as they ting off sound great. Gunfire feels more punchy thanks to improved audio design, and getting a headshot emits an ever so satisfying sound effect. The coolest experience with the sound I've had so far was when an enemy gangbanger rolled past my car and I could hear their radio station blasting the same beats as me, giving off a very ambient feeling to the world. With all this talk of guns and sound, it's time to move on to the next topic, enemy AI and police. The tutorial in this game can be infuriating, so I highly suggest that you fine-tune your difficulty in the gameplay challenge options. The enemy AI is surprisingly fun to engage in combat, even with it being pretty set in the 2010 era by design. Police and gangs will call for backup unless you stop them, which adds a dynamic element to firefights. Sometimes I've been able to keep the situation under control by eliminating them sneaky parrots on their phones, while other times it's turned into an all-out battlefield, ending in a roaring police chase up the streets. And while we're talking about police chases, I should mention that the vehicle damage has significantly improved since the previous games in the series, with parts of the cars now tearing off as you unload a barrage of bullets into them, not to mention explosions look better than ever. While the gunplay may look similar to Saints Row the Third from a glance, it's actually more entertaining. Maybe it's the way the bullets fire and can be seen like little projectiles as they take a second to hit their target, which goes hand in hand with the new health bar system, a feature I normally dread in games like this, though I must admit, even though I'd like to see an improved minimal HUD option with no health bars added, the design choice to have the health bars is growing on me. Many times the gameplay to me felt similar to Cyberpunk 2077 as enemies rush me and I use their health bars as an indicator of who to take down next. All I'm saying is, I now understand the creative decision to add them. With that being said, if any devs see this video, please add an improved hide HUD option, as the one we have now is just a glorified photo mode which makes interacting with the world very difficult. And speaking of interacting with the world, empire building. As you progress through the game, you'll unlock the ability to own and operate businesses on each district on the land. What makes this feature stand out is the world-changing element. When you place a business venture on a vacant lot, it is then part of your world and will now be on the map. To increase your venture's revenue, you can take down small gang hideouts, which can be anything from destroying all their vehicles to destroying them. As your empire grows, you will have access to more expensive ventures in the world, which you can purchase. I also really have to appreciate how cool it is to drive to a part of the map and see your business there. Is a really nice feature. So we've come to the end of the video, but first I want to go over a few things. First being graphics, followed by bugs and glitches, and then the reason why my review is full of positives but not many negatives. Alright, so let's get into it. What hardware you play on is going to affect your experience, as although not everyone may see graphics as a big deal, I always have for open world games. And with Saints Row using ray traced ambient occlusion, which looks amazing might I add, as well as parallax interiors, I feel like I've been treated to the best experience. So far, I've played all my gameplay on 1440p resolution at high quality, and I've enjoyed it a lot. Next, bugs and glitches. So straight from the get-go I've encountered some bugs like adaptive triggers inverting the left analog stick, weird character animation glitches, and several mission-breaking enemy spawn glitches, both of which I've found a workaround for. These issues haven't subtracted from how much fun of an experience I've had so far, but they have at times frustrated me. My biggest gripe with the game is the draw distance of vehicles, and the way they will just despawn in front of me. See, there's already plenty of videos highlighting issues with the game, and my video is about highlighting the positives of the game, which brings me to my opinion. The reason why this video is so focused on praising the game is not only because of how much I've enjoyed the game, but also because I believe in highlighting gameplay elements that are done right. This game is basically what I wanted the third Saints Row to be, with the original Saints though of course. Saints Row 2022 really has improved on just about everything from the past Saints Row games, and it feels much more grounded again. It is a shame we lost the original Saints, but in my opinion, they were lost after Saints Row 2. I've always played for the world and activities, and Saints Row still does that best. And hey, at least we got Jim Robb. If you like this video, then please leave a like, it would be much appreciated, and leave your own opinions and comments below, and I'll be sure to read and reply to all of them. Cheers.